I'm an aspiring screenwriter, and I've been trying to get my screenplays up to a professional standard. And so I've been looking at lots of different ways to structure a screenplay and how to write them. And I've read tons of books, and what I've realized is like a lot of these books are sort of giving you a slightly different angle on a lot of the same things. And so I've been applying some of this stuff in these books, and the screenplays I'm writing are okay, but they're not great. They're not at the level that I want them to be. And so I went on the hunt for new information because there's nothing that these books were telling me that I didn't already know and was applying. And I've read screenplays that are really, really good where you get to page 60 or page 70 and you don't even know where the last hour went because you were just so engrossed in the thing. And so, like I said, went hunting for new things to learn. And I came across the Script Notes podcast through some Reddit threads. And it's great. It's so good. John August, Craig Mazin, really great podcast. I suggest go listen to it. And they have this episode called How to Write a Movie, which was Craig Mazin on his own, and he basically gave a talk that he's given a few times at the Austin Film Festival, I think he said it was, for this episode. And he mentioned the Hegelian Dialectic as a method for creating stories. And so I started applying it and got really excited about it. And so I thought I'd share it with you guys so you could see what it's all about. So here we go. So what is the Hegelian Dialectic? It's a method for creating change using cause and effect. In its most simple terms, you have an object, you cause something to happen to it, and it has an effect on that object, which changes it. And it can change it in all sorts of ways. As writers, our object is a character. And when it comes to changing a character, we want to change what they think and how they feel, because those are the stories that tend to mean something and resonate with audiences. So when starting a story, you want to find a protagonist who has a specific point of view on the world, or their thesis on how things are. It could be, I'm better off alone, or no one can be trusted, or I'm big boned. Could be any number of things. And there could be a number of reasons why they think this, but there's usually one main reason as to why the character has taken this point of view on. We, as the writer, have to have the opposite point of view, or the counter-argument to their point of view, or the antithesis. And we want these two arguments to play out over the course of the movie. The antithesis is usually the hero's worst nightmare. And we, as the writer, need to create obstacles and situations that force the protagonist to come face to face with the antithesis. The protagonist's thesis is challenged by the writer's antithesis, which causes the protagonist to react. They are affected by it and changed as a result. This new version of them is called the synthesis. And this change will happen piece by piece as each situation or obstacle is played out over a scene or lots of scenes, depending on the obstacle or situation that you put in front of the protagonist. The synthesis then becomes the new thesis for the protagonist, and you keep hitting them again and again and again with the antithesis until they've been completely changed by the end of the movie. Now, depending on how far into the movie you are, the antithesis has a different objective to achieve in terms of what that antithesis is doing to your protagonist. At the start, the first set of antitheses should be aimed at getting the protagonist out of their comfort zone. It should expose the fear the character has created their thesis to avoid. To say it another way, the protagonist's thesis is based on avoiding something they are scared of confronting. And as writers, we have to push them to confront that fear. Once they're out of their comfort zone, the antithesis should create doubt in the protagonist. More specifically, convincing them that their thesis or point of view is wrong. The antithesis needs to show the faults in their thesis and be more compelling than the thesis. Or even better, both. This should lead them to a point where they adopt the antithesis, forget their fear. And the cost of forgetting fear is experiencing pain. That makes them want to go back to their original thesis, even though they know it's wrong. But now they're caught between their doubt and their pain. The protagonist feels lost, not knowing what to do. As the writer, we now need to hit them with why their original thesis was so appealing. And that option will be given to them by us, and we'll make it as tempting and easy to go back. But they'll recognize that they're not going to be satisfied by going back. So they reject the original thesis. And the harder it is for the protagonist to reject it, the more satisfying the climax will be at the end of the movie. The protagonist then has to be put in a situation where they not only understand the antithesis, but embody it at their own risk. If they aren't risking anything, then it's anticlimactic. And by embodying the antithesis, they're rewarded by no longer having the fears they had at the start of the movie. If they only understand the antithesis, they will fail. They must embody it. But as writers, we'll give them another crack at it to get it right. So while the Hegelian dialectic can help to create a compelling story, remember it's just as important to have it set up appropriately and have it pay off for the protagonist. It's important to note that we need to not only understand what the protagonist thinks, but why they think that. An audience wants to empathize with them, and they aren't going to be invested in their journey if they don't know those things. And if we can understand what they think and why they think it, and those things resonate with us on an emotional level, then you can expect the level of audience buy-in to be much higher. And for the movie to pay off, we want to see how this journey has fixed the protagonist's problems. How has it improved their life? How has it changed things for them as a result of everything that they've just been through? We want to see that. It's very satisfying for an audience to see the results of hard work and sacrifice. Now, I completely appreciate that this is not the only way to tell a story. I know that, I understand that, but I do think that this is a really good method of organically putting in tension and conflict into your script. It certainly has helped me, and so I thought I'd share it. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give us a like and a subscribe below, and I'm going to have more content about the Hegelian dialectic coming up soon. Alright, peace.